Prediction number 4. What do you got, Cody?
Tariffs will work. And I know you disagree with this one, Austin. We'll get into
Not
it in just a
necessarily.
second.
What does it mean?
So tariffs, just bigger picture, tariffs are charges that the U.S. is going to implement on other countries to do trade with the U.S. So if they want to bring in products or sell products to the U.S., they have to pay the U.S. a certain amount of a tariff, whether that's 10, 15, 20, 100%, 200%. Trump said recently he charged 200% tariffs on Chinese-made vehicles that are made in Mexico because China was constructing auto plants in Mexico to get around the import issue. And then Trump was like, well, I'll just do 200% tariffs on your vehicles. And immediately they stopped construction on the auto plants in Mexico. I don't think tariffs are globally speaking, I don't think it's the best way to do business. But because America is so damn unique with its position on the earth, but also the position as an economy, I do think they'll work. And the country has a history of using tariffs before we had income taxes and property taxes and sales taxes and all these damn taxes that the U.S. citizen is being taxed on. The U.S. mostly survived on tariffs prior. So I do think there's a very strong argument for why tariffs could and should work if they're properly implemented.
And when you say work, how do you define a positive outcome?
So I'm picking on China here, but there's a lot of other countries that are guilty here. China most recently has cornered the market on rare earth metals. And what they're doing is they are mining rare earth metals all around the world, and then they're hoarding them within China. And then they're lowering the price of electronic devices or all sorts of products that use rare earth metals artificially because they control the rare earth metal market globally, which makes it impossible for any other economy, including America, to compete on these low price electronic devices. So they literally have a monopoly on this one, these elements. So a tariff would provide income to the U.S. when you're importing Chinese electronic goods. So the U.S. is actually making money on the tariff, but actually makes it competitive for electronic manufacturers within the U.S. to compete with Chinese electronics that are sold in the domestic U.S. market. So that's an example of something that would work. Of course, there's tons of argument behind that exact example, but you could replicate that to many other goods and services and resources globally to explain why that would work is to make it competitive within the U.S.
When I think about one of the challenges with tariffs and why it really messes with a lot of, you've got people that are very, very smart who are saying this is bad monetary policy, right? Bad monetary policy, the tariffs. But I think what they don't factor in is that it's more of like a strategic negotiation tool. That's one component that's not being factored in by economists, is that it's being used to negotiate. And I feel like my prediction with this tariffs is that, and why I don't know if I can say that they're going to work or not work. I do think they'll be used differently than people expect. And they'll be used in a way to negotiate and make things happen in a way that they might otherwise not happen.